an otherworldly ship. The pilots inside are about to fly their spaceship for the first time. They plan to take it to 45,000 feet and drop it. No one knows if it will safely glide back down to Earth or plummet out of the sky. On the lawn of the Museum of Natural History, Sir Richard Branson and Burt Rutan first reveal the shape of their new space liner.
Is it to have your mom's name on the ship?
Well, she's got her insignia there in a great big glass.
We are aiming a suborbital system to a low enough operating cost that it could eventually reach millions of people.
People now can see what it looks like inside. It's quite roomy, isn't it?
If you fly and dream and think, then you come up with ideas on, hey, what do I use this for?
You know, I think lots of people have dreamt of going into space. So just take off their seat belts, they'll float about, they'll look out of these big windows that we've built. They'll become astronauts.
I originally met Burt through my ballooning expeditions. I was attempting to be the first person to be able to cross the Atlantic in a balloon. And then on many flights that we attempted to try to be the first to fly around the world in a balloon. Burt gave a lot of useful advice in building capsules that could fly at 30,000, 40,000 feet.
We're at one hell of an angle. We're finding great difficulty actually getting the balloon to go down.
I've been fortunate in having had a lot of adventures. I've also been fortunate to have survived them. Always seem to end up in the seas, rescued by helicopters.
Now, a childhood dream is driving his ultimate adventure.
00085.
I'd seen the moon landing as a young boy. I assumed that one day I'd be able to go into space, and soon realized that governments were not really interested in you or me going into space. So in 1991, I embarked on a mission to try to find a technician or engineer who could build a reusable spaceship. It wasn't until I met Burt Rutan that I finally found the genius, the engineer that could make it all possible.
The weightless period is really a single pilot operation. We have somebody responsible for keeping the people out of the front and nudging them back. We won't have to put a barrier. So that's the idea. And I'm sticking to it.
Yeah, no, that's good. No, that's great. Yeah, because these windows are fantastic, aren't they?
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant.
In 1968, Burt Rutan creates the first of his legendary home-built kit planes. Burt rapidly becomes an icon in the private aviation world for his unique approach to design. For over 3 decades, he designs, builds, and tests new aircraft at the startling rate of more than one a year. Then, in 2004, Burt unveils his space program. He goes after the $10 million Ansari X Prize for the first civilian flights into space.
So you're going to come on the horn after he touches down and say, show me the money, right?
10 seconds, Brent.
Burt's space system includes a mothership that carries the rocket ship to 50,000 feet for its attempt at space and drops it.
Release. Fire.
Holy crap, that was close.
Pilot Brian Binney rides up out of the atmosphere into the black sky of outer space.
350, we just shut down. Roger, shut down. It's really quiet up here. Copy. Coming down.
As the spaceship returns to Earth,
3, 2, 1.
the team wins the civilian race for space
You are the man.
and the $10 million Ansari X prize.
If I could please invite onto the stage Burt Rutan, the designer of the first private spaceship, Spaceship One. Burt.
As he and backer Paul Allen take the stage, Burt sets his aim still higher.
I was thinking a little bit about that other space agency. The big guys, I think they're looking at each other now and saying, we're screwed. Because I'll tell you something, I have a hell of a lot bigger goal. And you know what that goal is? I absolutely have to develop a manned space tourism system that's at least 100 times safer than anything that's ever flown manned to space, and probably a lot more. I have to do that.
Virgin Galactic Airways was born a week ago. 3 years from now, Burt has promised to deliver 5-seater spacecraft to take people into space, and hopefully it'll be the start of a lot of people being able to enjoy space.
If they're going to make their dream come true, it'll happen here, in the unlikely aviation mecca of Mojave, California. Here, Burt assembles some of the world's youngest and smartest engineers.
The cool thing about Scaled that I realized day one is that there's this, this culture of really smart, amazing people.
Matt Steinmetz was lead engineer on the X Prize winning Spaceship One. Now, Burt puts him in charge of the entire space program.
Sorry. 2-second snapshot of the flight. Across the board, this is a learning experience and a hell of a challenge. I mean, it's just, everything is big. It grew in size, and everything came along with it. Different game than Scaled has ever dealt with. We've got to carry 8 people in there, 2 pilots, 6 passengers. So there's just a whole lot of depth to what does that really mean to building a spaceship, that you can fly every day.
And to succeed, they must do what only 3 governments have done before them. Put human beings in space. The first hurdle, provide enough thrust to hurl their ship into space.
It takes about 2.5 times the power if you launch from the ground versus launching from an airplane.
So they need a launch platform for the rocket ship above 50,000 feet.
And you couldn't go to the rocket store and buy a motor.
So they must design their own. Then, they need a way for the ship to re-enter the atmosphere at supersonic speeds without breaking apart or burning up.
Being able to do that and still be able to glide and land on an airport, that was the big aerodynamic challenge. 50 degrees. Did I say 50? So I set out to develop something that could be thrown at the atmosphere at any angle, and it would itself straighten out. Well, pretty stable, huh? Nice and stable. That's why we call her feathered re-entry, because like the little badminton shuttlecock, you can throw it backwards, but it straightens out.
Getting a spaceship to the edge of the atmosphere begins with their plan for a launch vehicle, the mothership White Knight II. The engineer overseeing this mothership, Bob Morgan, configures a startling plane.
And you've got the spaceship suspended in the middle, and you've got the 2 cabins here.
It takes a year to fabricate the wing and install the flight controls, electronics, and hydraulics.
How'd that all work out? Where's your foam blocks at?
Today, they must install the wing on its 2 fuselages.
A major milestone for the program. It's 140 feet span, and it's a continuous one-piece swing from tip to tip. So it pretty much fills this room minus about 10 feet on each end.
Did y'all catch that?
Yes. Okay, here's the assignments. On the left wing, we've got eyeballs, Zach and Steve.
You got Zach Reeder. This is basically his wing. It's his baby. He was the guy that built all the pieces and parts, so he's got a lot invested in it.
The wing itself is mine. You know, I invested the last year in this one part.
Aft, aft, aft.
Okay, give me a little more.
If it bumps the tops of the rods, we're not going to freak out.
I saw them all four go in.
Okay.
Yes, we are home.
One major milestone achieved. But even as the Spaceline program gets underway, tragic news threatens to close down the entire mission.
The explosion happened just after 2:30 Thursday afternoon at a remote location at the Mojave airport.
3 scaled employees are killed when an early test for the spaceship's rocket goes terribly wrong.
We've had no injuries from anyone. And we've done some really dangerous stuff.
Bert loves his people. When the accident took place, you know, it hit him like nothing I've seen has ever hit anybody.
Bunch of guys out in the desert working, you know, just working. It's just a kind of a weird chance thing, and to lose your friends like that, people you see every day, it affected us all a lot.
Shortly after the accident, I was very sick for about 8 months, and I was out of the picture.
Bert, his health deteriorated just, you know, suddenly. It was a lot of chaos, a lot of turmoil. A guy like me, you know, I've been here a long time, seen a lot of things. I thought, it's over. Not only did I lose friends, but I think all the great things that were scaled are done. So, you know, it was really, really, really hard.
"17 months after the explosion that claimed the lives of 3 of their colleagues, and before the spaceship is even built, the team at Scaled Composites pushes the mothership from the hangar for her first attempt at flight.
It's the big day. It's the worst day and the best day all in one.
For project aerodynamicist Jim Ty, this flight will test 4 years of calculations and design.
You got to figure out, you know, where you're right, where you're wrong, what assumptions you made were valid, which were invalid. The guys who fly the airplane are my friends, and I don't want to see anything happen to them. Ever. You know, so it's an emotional day.
Like all scaled aircraft, White Knight 2 has never been wind tunnel tested. Leader of the test pilot program, Peter Siebold, prepares to take on the unknown dangers of this crucial first flight.
The objective is to get airborne as fast as possible and then enough power to prevent overspeed after liftoff. Planned test altitude 16,000 feet. If we're out of control below 10,000 feet, we're heading for the door. Chase, give us a reminder of what our altitude is if we're having troubles. I'll make the decision to head for the door. So you get to the door, open it up, and I'll probably be pushing you out. So.
You gotta always keep that in mind. We're doing something that could conceivably kill somebody. And it sounds harsh, but you have to think about it that way.
Bert Rutan and his engineers have designed and modified. They've calculated and recalculated But it's a radical new plane design, and no one really knows if it'll fly.
I believe we've done everything we can to test this out, and hopefully it works.
Thanks, Steve. All right, Steve, aircraft status.
Chocks go.
All right, go ahead and pull the chocks. I'm on the brakes.
Oxygen.
100%.
Altimeter 30.
All right, Clint, what do you say? I think today's a good day to go fly.
Let's go.
Chase, Scat 2-1 is rolling, taxiing into position and hold.
Chase copies. We'll get in position.
Tower, Scat 2-1 is taxiing into position and holding for Chase. Mojave Tower, Scat 2-1 holding short at 30, request takeoff clearance.
Mojave Tower, airborne pickups approved. Winds are calm, runway 30, cleared for takeoff.
Okay, guys, have fun.
Will do.
Number 1, throttle.
Idle. Number 1, start. Power set.
There's 40.
50.
Good cross check. 60. 95. 100. 105.
Is that you doing anything with the rudders?
A little loose directionally.
Yep.
I was looking out the window and I'm watching the Earth go back and forth, you know, at about this rate, thinking, I wish it wouldn't do that.
It was a split-second decision that the airplane was controllable or whether we really needed to bring the airplane back to the ground.
We've got some real poor centering of the rudder pedals at 0. Base from 2-1 on hot mic feels like might have pretty significant rudder lock issues. I
think they're going to get worse with altitude, but if he goes faster, it's going to get more pronounced. So you see, make sure they watch their speed, and if they keep it slow, otherwise the forces are just going to get worse.
We're just working through how to control the rudders here. All right, Clint, we'll need to get your feet on the rudder pedals.
Back to scale.
And just whatever you do, don't get dynamic with it. Just keep your pedals, just lock them. Perfect.
We have what's called a reversible flight control system. It's a fancy word for meaning there's no hydraulic boost, there's no power steering. It's, you know, it's as simple as a go-kart.
It's one of the largest planes to ever fly this way. The rudders are directly connected with push rods and cables and pulleys to the pedals beneath the pilot's feet. And balancing the forces involved in a plane this big is a precarious job.
With this aircraft, you're right on the ragged edge.
Problem is, they're just holding the rudders locked. The rudder still floats back there, and I can feel it.
With the plane's rudder unstable in the air, the team decides to return to the airfield.
Just want to make sure you've got a good landing configuration. We're happy with that.
Challenges at the small deflections. It definitely feels like it wants to swap ends.
But now comes the next unknown, how she lands.
100. Ten.
107.
3, 2 inches.
So we're rolling along, and Pete says,
Okay, got nose wheel shimmy on the left.
Nose wheel shimmy, and I look out, and on this other boom, I can see the nose wheel, and it's just shaking like crazy, you know, just shimmying, vibrating all over the place.
It's still going.
No, I'm just going to get it stopped.
So I'm sitting there thinking, oh, wow, you know, I wonder when that's going to snap off.
is clear of the runway. Congrats, everybody.
By the time we pulled up in the chocks and got out, Bert came to greet me and whispered in my ear, "We think it's the gear."
What I didn't realize until the flight was that the gear, when it's down, the landing gear, actually affects the rudder in a different way. I probably should have seen it before the flight.
This is a fabulous airplane. It showed its potential today. It's going to do its job very well.
We fought the hurdle of the accident with the rocket motor. We got through that. So really the next big one was, are we ever going to fly this gigantic airplane? So really now, you know, the focus kind of changes to rocket motors and spaceships. That's really the next big goal in my mind.
Only 450 people have been into space. The surface has hardly been scratched.
I looked at the big picture. I looked at what things could happen. Can the public go to the moon in my lifetime? Can they go to resort hotels on orbit for their vacations? 10, 20 years from now, we could start flying 100,000 people.
If commercial space travel can succeed, then anything is possible in space.
Rutan and Branson's epic vision for taking tourists into space is forming here, in secret, behind closed hangar doors.
All the buildings are numbered, of course, because we're not creative enough to think of real names. So that's 78. We're headed to 63.
Okay, let's go aft a little bit.
I worked at Boeing for 4 years, writing reports on wind tunnel data reduction and doing small corrections. And here I'm responsible for spacecraft. So this will be the lower skin, the bottom of that feather flap back over there. Tubes are hollow tubes, which let you control pitch and roll. That's the master caution warning system. Hanging off this trailing edge are the elevons, which is the pieces over there. That's John Kruger in there. That big R2-D2 looking thing shoots a laser beam. So I'd get CL, CD, CM all as a function of alpha, Mach, and feather in my case. So that's kind of neat.
Jim Tide, you know, dreams in streamlines. He sees airflow when he sleeps. I don't know how he does it.
It's kind of hard to visualize it all, but it'll make sense once you see all the pieces start to come together.
Are we straight on?
Yeah, we're pretty good. Bert had a desire to make a bigger vehicle so the passengers could enjoy space and float around.
That's fine.
Jim must build a ship that will fly at 4 times the speed of sound and withstand forces of up to 6 gravities, enough to tear most planes apart.
Okay, Clicos. Not too tight. Wait for the shot bags.
And he's building it with carbon fiber composites. Just fabric and glue.
You can see it's like a textile, right? So there's fibers running this way, fibers running this way. And along the direction of the fibers is where the material is strongest.
Made correctly, carbon composites are lighter than aluminum and stronger than steel. But one mistake in this handmade process could invalidate all of Jim's calculations and cause this crucial part of the spacecraft's feather to fail.
This is the upper outer right-hand boom skin. This is the last major part right here.
After the completion of multiple layers and overnight cure cycles in the oven.
Woo! It's hot in there.
We gotta have the top of the tail out. More.
The new part is ready to be fitted into the spaceship's feather.
How are we on height back there?
Rutan's breakthrough invention to make everyday space travel possible.
Houston flight is go.
T-minus 10, 9, 8.
Before Rutan, the only manned winged vehicles to go into space are the Space Shuttle and the X-15. Both disintegrated, coming back into the atmosphere.
I was there at Edwards when Mike Adams was killed in the X-15. He re-entered the atmosphere crooked. It resulted in X-15 breaking up and him losing his life.
Bert's solution is to simply fold the spaceship in half, feather it, so that it drops back into the atmosphere safely, like a shuttlecock, without the pilots even touching the controls. Astonishingly, it should slow the ship so quickly that heat buildup will not be a factor. Then the pilots reconfigure the craft as a glider and land back on Earth.
Should we do this? Jim, you ready? Ready to roll?
The spaceship must now join the mothership in a larger hangar.
Bump up over the track. Don't like benefit. Just a little momentum is not bad.
Okay, now slow it up as we're coming out the door.
The spaceship is still top secret. To keep away prying eyes and cameras, they move her at midnight, wrapped in black plastic, using only flashlights to guide the way.
Do you hear any pops or anything? It sounds good. It's quiet.
This is very interesting. There's like a whole herd of people just walking. It's like some pilgrimage or something.
3 feet that way. Your left.
We're in pretty good shape. I think put the mothership in the hangar. Spaceship's in here. We'll get it off the jacks. Yeah. Button up the doors and go home. I think we're doing good. Tomorrow the big fun starts. We'll made it. So this is symbolic almost in a way, moving to 75. Because there's no longer groups sitting here, there, and everywhere around the airport. Now it's kind of all starting to come together. You know, fight for whoever's in charge, so it should be fun. Yeah, and there it is.
You have to touch your airplane every once in a while and just, you know.
That's the only piece.
She takes care of us.
People starting to come out of the woodwork. It's kind of cool to watch people. They just stand back and look at it. Like they're in awe. So 4 years of your life building up to suddenly this thing becomes an airplane all in one day, which is weird, but it's cool. All right, boys and girls, gather around. So at the end of the day, congratulations to all you guys. This is awesome. This is your guys' vehicle. You did it, so kudos to you guys. You can't do this anywhere else in the world. I mean, you just can't do this anywhere else. From now until rollout, we just got to pull out all the stops. Thanks, guys. See you at 7.
See you at 7.
For now, aerodynamics takes a back seat to paint and graphics. But there's another essential component for the space line to fly: paying passengers. In December of 2009, Sir Richard Branson arrives in Mojave to reveal the spaceship to the international media.
Oh, it's a bit of wind here. Hi, bud. Hey, welcome back. You're looking really extremely well.
The partners in the space tourism program reunite.
Well, you couldn't have walked this far last time.
I was within a couple of weeks of just saying, hey, you know, I'm going to do something here.
Yeah. Oh, thank God for that.
I ended up having heart surgery maybe only 3 weeks after I was in New York.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
Got it taken care of.
The friends test the cockpit of the mothership that will carry both the spaceship and in the other fuselage, the astronaut trainees.
I think that the passengers ought to be trained during a space launch. What you do is you go up and your wife is over there, I mean, halfway to there.
Yeah.
Hello, have a nice flight. She drops off, the rocket fires, off they go. And then when they disappear, then you do your weightless training and your G's and you land. You can do it all in the same flight.
Even as they prepare to unveil Spaceship Two, Bert and Richard are seeing beyond short hops into space, into full-fledged space travel, complete with orbiting hotels.
A space hotel can look like almost anything you want it to look like. Knowing Virgin, I suspect it'll be the shape of a giant V floating through space. I think the important thing about being in a space hotel is that you have massive windows, so you can actually look out at the universe around you and marvel at it.
But if you just have a bubble in several places on a big resort hotel, in which you can go in there and pull the curtain and just float around without the noise and the encumbrances. One of the benefits is these almost religious-like opportunities.
So we want to dream, and we want to try to make those dreams a reality.
I have to tell you that there is a lot of cool things that you get to do when you're governor. But I think that this here today is definitely one of the coolest things that I've ever done.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Mojave Air and Spaceport, and welcome to the future of space.
You've seen the dignitaries, you've met your heroes. I want to introduce the rock stars of the new space race.
As the cutting winds of Mojave blow clear the reverie, the team readies for the upcoming tests of the world's first space liner. Spaceship Two is scheduled to take to the air tomorrow for the first time.
We're at the very end of our day, so we're supposed to fly tomorrow. Okay, you got power on?
Tomorrow is really the start of the spaceship test program. We don't do any wind tunnel testing. We build them and go fly them.
The planes are wired from nose to tail with sensors that monitor stress and movement, like a complex nervous system. These systems will give the ground team critical real-time information.
This is our first chance to see if the predictions we make in a computer analysis match reality. You got to have the data going down to the ground station from the airplane in the air, so there's just all this stuff that's all tied together.
Okay.
Wes Persall is in charge of the elaborate data transfer between the ships and the ground station.
When you're trying to meet a deadline and you're trying to get something as big of a milestone off as like a first flight in this for the spaceship, you know, it's like a deadline comes up and you don't want to be the guy that says, okay, my stuff's not working right.
Yet today, it's Wes's stuff that isn't working quite right.
And we got to be done by 5 or else we're not flying tomorrow morning.
I did do one slight configuration change today, which I am seriously regretting now. So we did deviate from what we tested last night. And I knew it was a risk, and I took it, and it was a good one. So
I think it makes sense to get it as close to a pre-flight configuration as possible to work for everyone.
Ready? Anything? It's at 0 right now. There's Alpha. Talk to any telemetry engineer, and I think they'll tell you that that sometimes you get problems that you scratch your head over. You're not sure exactly what it is.
Tell me within 5 minutes that it's a miracle. I'll be impressed. But otherwise, I'd say let's just.
We don't know what's going on. I'd say.
Let's just pull the plug.
Let's wait. I understand that it's not going to work exactly the way I want it to, but you still want it to work.
All that stuff. Yeah, we're gonna knock it off for today.
So not flying tomorrow?
Not flying tomorrow. Okay.
close. We'll go have a great day Monday.
Don't look so sad, Wes. Why not? We're not flying tomorrow. Yeah, let's go. Turn and burn.
5 days later, the spaceship lifts into the air for the first time.
We're going to do what's called captive carries, where you pick the spaceship up under the white knight, you haul it up to altitude, you test the aerodynamics and the vibration, what we call flutter between the two airplanes. We'll smack the flight controls around to try to excite vibrations and make sure that it quits moving on its own.
1.1, 1.2.
What could happen? We could lose, you know, Spaceship 2, White Knight 2, and three of our friends, you know.
The scaled team puts the mated spaceship and mothership through strenuous testing in the air.
The nose come down a little bit, good speed up.
5, 6.
Yeah, we don't do any wind tunnel testing. This airplane kind of is the wind tunnel test. God's wind tunnel is the big blue sky above us.
But these tests are preludes to the next trial of the program, the maiden flight of Spaceship 2. Now, attention shifts to the pilots who will take the plunge.
I can't even estimate how many times I've thought through all the what-ifs. Launching from 45,000 feet, you've got roughly 12 minutes.
2G pull.
We've got a significant problem. If you don't have good answers for what you're going to do in those situations, then you get scared.
Okay, coming out, John.
Today, the Scaled Composites team will take their spaceship to 45,000 feet and drop it.
All right, good morning, everybody. It's time. We'll finish briefing here by 6, step to the aircraft, hoping to start at by 6:20 to make a 7 o'clock takeoff. We'll climb to altitude and drop when we're ready for it.
It'll be the first time that the spaceship's flying on its own. It's a little scary. It's, you know, my friends are going to be dropped in an airplane that's never flown before for 45,000 feet. Hopefully it flies right the first time, or right enough to get it on the ground safely.
Yeah. Oh, good. Nice to see you. Good luck. Exciting. Any concerns?
The only challenge is it's a short flight, so
yeah.
We've got to figure out how to fly it in a pretty short amount of time.
Yeah.
But
good luck. Thanks very much. Cheers. Yeah.
We've spent the last 5 years trying to design and build a flyable spaceship. It's the first glide flight, first no-kidding flight on its own. Does it fly right, and can we, you know, navigate, maneuver, and get back to home? So it's a pretty big deal.
Mojave ground, Scat 4-1.
Scat 4-1, Mojave ground, line clear, Hummy.
4-1, flight ready to taxi. Loud and clear, taxi White Knight 2.
Taxi runway 30, variable 4, altimeter 3016.
The first time an airplane flies, usually it'd take off just a little bit, and you get a little bit of daylight underneath the wheels and set it back down. With Spaceship 2, that's not an option because it doesn't have a propulsion system that lets it take off by itself. So the idea is actually to go as high as you can, which seems maybe counterintuitive, but it gives the pilots the maximum time possible to figure out how to fly the airplane, or if things are really bad, get out of the airplane.
And base, confirm still green for takeoff.
4-1, base, that's firm, green for takeoff.
Mojave Tower, 4-1's ready for takeoff, 30.
Runway 30, clear for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff.
Here we go.
70.
That
was gorgeous, wasn't it?
I can't help, I got tears in my eyes. Every time I see the thing, every time I see it go, I just...
Wonderful.
You just well up.
We're going to go up to a much higher altitude than we would typically fly a first flight. We'll be up near 45,000 feet.
Base, how's everybody doing down there?
We're looking good, 2-1 from scaled base.
Mojave Tower's got 2-1. 2-1 Mojave Tower, mission line clear. Let's get 2-1, 3 minutes.
Scale base is green for release. Elevons to go. Have a good one.
T-minus 60 seconds, waiting for arm.
Okay, base is giving us go for release, so I'll arm it at 30 seconds. All right, you can arm it. 40 seconds. Beautiful day to go fly. You betcha. Okay, 30 seconds, here comes the arm. Hello. Okay, 20 seconds. Good luck, guys.
Will you guys please arm? We're not showing an arm indication.
10 seconds. We are armed. Okay.
Okay, we're arming.
Okay.
Copy. 4, 3, 2, 1. Release, release, release. Release.
Clear the plane. Good release.
Okay, it's gone. All good, all good. Beautiful, beautiful.
I can't see him.
I can see it. Here we go. Shall
Oh, I see it. I see
Got it.
Okay, tail pitch doublet.
Did I miss a pitch doublet? Has he done it already?
Yes, he has.
One turn hard left pitch. Turn sight Starship. Keep the turn coming. I'll follow you around.
He's a lot less nervous than we are.
Yeah.
He's got his butt on the line. God. Oh, man.
Good luck, guys.
Bert was looking for the Yahoo, it flies like a dream, best thing I've ever flown. And
326,000. Extra copy.
26,000 feet.
he's just waiting, and when you don't hear anything, you're, worried that maybe he's struggling with it.
Come on, Pete, tell us how it flies.
Until some of these maneuvers were flown, you really don't know where some of the demons are lurking and whether or not we truly had a nice flying airplane.
148.
Slow it up to stall.
So on 15 Alpha. Okay, 90 knots. Countdown complete. 93 min speed. What a beautiful flying airplane.
Hey, 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 hey! Woo! Woohoo!
Yeehaw!
He finally said it's a beautiful flying airplane. Oh, that's great.
Doesn't usually use words.
God, that's great. It's a good airplane.
Works. Well done.
It's got a good airplane. Yeah. On scale base, we are green for landing. Well, this is one of the 3 real big risks.
Gear is out. Looks like all 3 are locked. Negative nose. Going to the emergency.
Chase from base. Say again, nose gear status.
Negative green on the nose.
Nose looks good from chase.
Nose looks perfect from chase. Guys, 20 feet, 10 feet, 6 feet, 3 feet, 2 feet, 1 foot, 1 inch. Beautiful job, Pete.
I can breathe now.
There's a lot of really talented engineers who've, done the design of the airplane, and the folks who've put the airplane together are extremely gifted people, and I would trust them with my life. It was good.
That's cool. He's just checking things, I think.
Well done.
Yeah.
Good job.
Thanks, Bert.
Super job.
Excellent. Fantastic.
It was the best flying airplane. It was just amazing.
Wonderful. Oh, that's great. Looks so lovely.
Why didn't you tell us earlier? Pete was able to just kiss the ground with it, And when you do that, you've got and you've never flown the airplane before. You've never landed it. What that tells you is you've got a phenomenally nice flying machine.
Yep.